Positive way, hey, positive way.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort, concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is the New Hampshire High School Basketball Show.
This is a second coming. This is a call to arms. Your finest hour won't be wasted.
The New Hampshire High School Basketball Show is brought to you by the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement.
Right now, it's not about talent, it's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest, who can go out there and play the smartest. Now, they've been here before, so they're not going to give it to us. We got to go out there and we got to take it.
And now your hosts, Pete Terrier.
But I have a question, though. Those two foul shots, the end of the game, did you miss them? Or did you miss them?
Not exactly a soup question, is it?
And Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com.
All season long, we played our game. Right now, you're playing theirs. When we step on the floor, every second that clock is ticking, we are pedal to the metal. We run the ball. We pressure the ball. And most importantly, we control the tempo of the game.
This is gonna hurt.
Good morning and welcome to another postseason edition of the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, a bracketology edition, part 2. My name is Pete Terrier, along with my co-host Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. Dave, happy March and happy playoff season. It's great, isn't it?
We're in it. I love it. We're in it.
One game last night for each of us, another game for each of us tonight, and then a little bit of a respite on Sunday. It is the day of rest, right? The Sabbath. And then we'll get back at it full time, full bore on Monday. And then we're basically going straight through for the next 2 weeks as the playoffs are heating up. A champion will be crowned in girls basketball today in the state of New Hampshire, maybe a couple. But we'll get you the story on the boys. We were both at games last night. John Kesty, our videographer from NHSportsPage.com, is in the studio filming. We got our producer, Jeremy Mahaney, and we got 2 bracketologists coming on the show. We will break down the Division I and the Division II boys brackets in the NHIAA. We did it last week with D3 and D4, and both the coaches that we had on to do it,
unbelievable.
They pretty much nailed it outside of a weird change in the seeding after they came out, after they were announced. But pretty good job by our bracketologist Dave Chase from Division III and then Sam Natty from D4.
What Dave Chase did was unbelievable. I mean, what Sam did was great, but Dave Chase really got it.
6-way tie.
Yeah, he figured it out. Unbelievable.
Amongst teams that don't all play each other, I mean, that was a heck of a job by him.
We made the right choice.
And who is on the hot seat today in D1? Who's coming in to break it down? The brackets are not out. Actually, in D2, the games finished up on Thursday. Kudos to the NHIAA. They get the bracket out first thing Friday morning for D2.
Joe Marshallina, I was at the Wilton Colebrook game yesterday afternoon, 4:30 start. Joe Marshallina was there, our friend, and Joe subbed for me a few times on the show. And Joe and I talked about that, and Joe and I were laughing. We say, the NHIAA follows me and Joe and other people on Twitter. I think they get the message that, and then somebody, I think it was Kevin Rons from Messina, had told me that a part of what they do is based on a computer calculation, and that made me say, then why does it take 3 days? so good for the NHIAA. Let's be positive here. So Mike Susi from Hollis Brookline is going to come on, and we already know the matchups, but we want to talk to Mike about what his thoughts are. His team is in the tournament, and go through each matchup, and then my friend Jay McKenna from Winnicunnet is going to come on in the second half of the hour, and I don't know D1 at this point, so he's going to break that down for us.
So D1 regular season wrapped up last night. We got the scores from all the playoff games, all the regular season finales in D1. Let's go to it right now. Brought to you, as always, by our friends from the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission, the Division of Enforcement, and that Buyers Beware campaign reminding all adults it's against the law to provide alcohol to minors. Yeah, even if your season ended maybe in excruciating fashion, a 1-point loss, or maybe you got blown out, don't try and drown your sorrows with a bottle or a 6-pack. It's against the law. You just can't do it. Here's the scoreboard, Dave Haley.
Last night, let's go Division I. Bedford with a 77-71 win over Exeter last night. Exeter needed to win that game to get in the tournament. They did not. They are not in the tournament, which is surprising. That's a good Exeter team, and Jeff Holmes a very good coach. But I think that tells you that D1 is a little deeper than it has been in past years. How about Dover beating your Nashua South? Steve Lane, by the way, Nashua North coach, was at the game last night watching his son Casey. We'll get into that, but great catching up with him. Salem loses to Manchester Memorial 77-69. Memorial, we'll go through it with Jay McKenna. I'm not even going to try to guess.
Well, and I want to say that Jack Quirk did not coach that game. He was suspended prior to the game.
He was?
I have word from a source that Quirk was suspended. I don't know if I didn't see any media reports on that game, but Quirk was suspended at least for last night's game and perhaps a game in the playoffs.
For what?
For, let's just say, conduct that is frowned upon in all walks of life. Let's put it that way.
Boy, we're going to get in this.
I'm not saying he got arrested or anything like that, but it was something that happened after a game or during a game or whatever. Maybe a combination of the two, but he was suspended and did not coach that game last night. And Memorial went out and won.
Yeah, just to let people know, and I don't want people to be concerned or call into the station with well wishes. I don't need it. I'm fine. But I was kidnapped last night by Buddy Trask and his son Kevin Trask and Butch Ladd from the Northeast Sports Network in Manchester and forced to go out. So I didn't get the news on things like that, so I'm still catching up on that. But I'll be fine. Listen, you get kidnapped, you just kind of you roll with it and you kind of move along and so forth and so on. But that might be why I didn't know that. Manchester Central on a buzzer beater by Amaru Conte, 77-74 over Alvern. Central is your number 2 seed in the Division I tournament. Doc Wheeler, unbelievable, 17-1 with that team. Trinity with a 66-43 win over Concord. Concord finishes the season 0-18. Matt Lemieux, I think, has done a really nice job over at Trinity this year. We'll figure out where they're going to be in the tournament. My preseason number 1 finished number 3, Pinkerton. That's not bad, right?
That's pretty good, especially when it wasn't like a chalk pick.
No.
You didn't say
No.
Central your preseason number 1.
No. People were asking if I was eating chalk when I put them number 1, but here it is.
Or snorting chalk.
58. No comment. 58-48 win over Merrimack. Pinkerton with the win there. Gio Baker was great. I love the show, and you and I talk about this off the air because we say things or questions, and then we realize this is such a great thing. How many listeners we have when we ask a question and we say, "Hey, what's going on with Gio Baker?" I get a message on Twitter from Gio Baker within 10 minutes. He's like, "Oh, my ankle was hurt, but I'm okay."
And I think I'm breaking news to you when I text you the information probably 4 days later.
Yeah. Gio Baker, most importantly, be ready for our Seacoast team. Did you see that team?
Yeah, I did.
Connor Walsh was funny.
You're bringing Brett Hansen back?
You're whoopee. Yeah, do you think he's improved a little bit at Tilton Prep?
I haven't seen him play this year. I'm sure he's gotten better.
You can safely assume. Yeah, it's funny. Like, a couple of people messaged me like, I think you're going to have people not put in teams because of how good your team is. But I know Sean Young is putting in a team. Talked to Dan Bryson at West. I think he's putting in a team, but I would love to see a bunch of New Hampshire kids playing that Seacoast tournament. It's such a great tournament that Pete Goodwin runs. The kids love playing in it. So anyway, looking forward to that. Londonderry 18-0. They beat the Fighting McIsaacs 77-60 last night. McIsaac's tweets were great. He said Londonderry hit 8 shots in the first quarter, and they literally didn't hit the rim, like just straight on net. I think he was a little frustrated. So Londonderry finishes 18-0. Obviously, they're the ones who will get into that with Jay McKenna. And Keene.
The team that was winless last year.
7 wins.
And they had the streak for Timberlane broken.
Yeah, no.
And then they go 7 wins and they're in the tournament. Congratulations, Blackbirds.
I think I've given a shout out a few times to Dave Sontag, but great job. 57-40 win over Jay McKenna. Jay McKenna, who is one of the nicer guys I know and a friend of mine. I hope he's not in a bad mood. So let's go to Division IV. This is where we were last night. Game I was at started at 4:30. Jennifer Chick and I, 73-51. Wilton Lineborough over Colebrook. I have breaking news. Jordan Litz is really good.
Yeah.
Really.
First time you got to see him, huh?
Yeah, really good. Had a good.
Tell me about his game.
He looks like a D1 guy. Remember last year where I said Jimmy Stanley looks like a college kid who comes back to play with the high school kids?
Yeah.
That's what Jordan Litz looks like.
Yeah.
And you looked in warm-ups, and Jen Chick and I, we had Wilton Lineborough, I want to say, they took great care of us. We were talking about this before the show. Epping was incredible to Pete and John last night. how they take care of us at these games, it's unbelievable. We appreciate it so much. And we were right at half court. We had a great seat. And Jen looked at the warm-ups, and Jen's like, Wilton's just like a lot bigger than Colebrook. I mean, it just looked like big brother versus little brother. Buddy has coached his butt off all season long, and those Colebrook kids played hard. They're like Central. They just play hard. Cedric McKinnon was fantastic. I mean, he stood out for Colebrook. He looked like a kid, like he was is the equal of Wilton, but every other kid for Colebrook just looked a step behind and a step slow and just too small. And Wilton's my pick to win it. We'll get into that, but they're absolutely my pick to win it. I'm really excited for Monday night. Sam Natty and I are going to do the Final Four up there. I'm really the great John Kesty is coming up there to Plymouth. I love Plymouth. I mean, that's my favorite venue of all the Final Four places. I love UNH and Southern New Hampshire's great, but Plymouth is something like high school basketball about Plymouth. Maybe because I played there. But.
I was going to say, is it because you played there, or is it because you guys lost there? I mean,
Take it easy. We won there quite a bit, okay?
We'll
get to my Guilford Golden Eagles.
But your big chance, you guys didn't get it done, and I'm not criticizing you.
No, we
Dave.
went to state championship, and then we got upset my senior year. But no, it's something about like there's like an old school feel about that gym. I don't know. I love Plymouth. I think it's a great venue. They do a nice job there.
That rankles you still to this day, I'm sure.
I don't want to talk about it
because you're visibly upset about it.
Yeah, I want to move along.
I never got there. I never even made the varsity team at Nashville High.
If I see Josh Lank, who used to play for Pittsfield, I'd run him over right now on the street. I would do it. And I would serve the prison time for it. Epping, we're moving on. 70-37 win over Groveton. We're going to talk about this. Epping all over it. The fact that you interviewed my man, Colby Wilson, is like me taking your little boys to Chuck E. Cheese.
They were asking.
That's
You're
my
more
guy.
than welcome to do that. But they were asking for you. Where's Dave Haley?
That's my man.
I got the second banana tonight. Pete Terrier's here. Where's our boy Dave?
That's very rare because usually it's like, we have a group text, our entire team at NA Sports page, which is great. And every time John Kesty does a game with me, he always sends a text out and goes, Pete, I love working with you. You're so professional. I'm like, okay, easy, John. We get the. We know what you're saying, for crying out loud. But, I mean, John's sitting there with me at Guilford, and he just the other night just shaking his head and laughing at me as I'm having a heart attack with my Golden Eagles. Well, we're going to spend the better part of the next hour talking about my Guilford Golden Eagles. But 70-37 win, Brett Kuchar and Colby Wilson, too much for Groveton. And they're moving on. We're going to talk about this. Derryfield over Newmarket. This is an excellent game. 43-37. Derryfield within Rob Rizzo's, Pat McGinley. They had early foul trouble for Sam Anderson, but they get the W, and Derryfield is once again going to the Final Four. And the game, so quick story. The last score we're going to do. Littleton, 46-45 over Woodsville. So I got done our game. I was kidnapped. There was no weapon involved, but I was kidnapped. So I was in a room at the Hilton Garden Inn with Buddy Trask, Kevin Trask, his son, and Butch Ladd from the Northeast Sports Network. They're terrific. They did the game live, and they are awesome. Obviously very good friends of mine. So we watched Littleton Woodsville in the hotel room, and Woodsville Jared Bemis scored 6 straight points to get this thing back. And Littleton's up 46-45. Woodsville, with 13 seconds left. Littleton 1-1 misses it. Jamie Walker calls timeout. Woodsville ball. For people who follow me on Twitter, this was a packed house. They had a stream of the game in the cafeteria. There was 450 tickets sold. You couldn't get into the gym if you didn't buy a ticket in advance. People wonder or ask, why do you love North Country, like Division IV basketball? That's my answer. I love it.
The whole town shuts down.
Everything.
Closed. Gone to the game. Sign in the window.
Exactly. Sam Natty last year and his wife went to the Groveton-Littleton quarterfinal game, and he couldn't even get. He said if he wasn't Sam Natty from Lisbon and a media star Sam Natty.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
That gets you in.
I think Sam Natty can say that. So Woodsville gets the ball down 1 with 13 seconds left. Never could get the ball in Jarrett Bemis's hands. Scored 6 in a row. Never touched the ball in the last position. They end up turning it over with about a second left. It's going out of bounds, and Littleton heads up play. Littleton, I think it might have been Logan Briggs, throws it down the court, like just to let the time run out. They storm the court, and all the kids at Littleton were chanting, Final Four,
Nice.
Final. Unbelievable game. Woodsville, Jamie Walker did a tremendous job with that Woodsville team this year. But it was...
They were the only team to beat Littleton this year.
And I'll tell you, I watched that game, and is why we love what we do. That game, like watching that on TV, Littleton, Woodsville, unbelievable. I mean,
and you're
awesome.
thinking, I'm at this 30-point blowout, which was over at halftime. Why couldn't I be at this 1-point buzzer beater or nail biter?
Yeah,
game?
I mean, I'll tell you, Colebrook played really hard. I don't think they played that poorly. Just Wilton is really good. I mean, just really good.
So the matchups for Monday,
Yeah.
you got number 1 Littleton against number 4 Wilton.
That's the second game.
And the first game is Epping against Derryfield.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, Sean Young, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see Sean and Rob Bradley and my man Colby Wilson, yeah.
All right, we'll get to a break. We'll come back. We'll get our breakdown of the bracket in Division II. Hollis Brookline coach Mike Susi will join us and talk about the matchups that start on, Monday, the prelims in D2.
Yeah.
And then later in the hour, Jay McKenna from Winnicott will be on to break down the bracket in D1. It is not a published bracket yet, so those official tournament pairings are not out.
He's ready.
I haven't been on the NHIAA website, but I'm guessing on a Saturday morning they didn't do it. But we'll get Jay McKenna to project that bracket, project the matchups as the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show continues. News Radio 610 and 96.7.
From Manchester West to Winnicott, Central to Somersworth, and Portsmouth to Plymouth, this is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Is Jeremy playing slow jams?
Slow jams.
Is this a romantic episode?
Billy Joel on a
What
Saturday
is going
morning.
on in there?
Why don't you like Billy Joel's a more
You know what?
important question?
I said to you in the morning, Jeremy, I follow him on Twitter. He takes his brother to wrestling matches, which I think is great. And all I simply said is the junkyard dog. He used to come out to Another One Bites It Up by Queen. No, but now I get Billy Joel love songs. What happened? What has happened to you and I, Jeremy?
I didn't know there was a you and I.
Oh.
Not anymore, there isn't.
All right. Let's get on our next guest, Mike Susi from Hollis Brookline. The Cavaliers got the 12 seed in the upcoming Division II boys basketball tournament here in the state of New Hampshire. Coach Susi, thanks for joining us on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on.
So, Mike, I know when Dave set this up with you last week, we were thinking that you were going to project the bracket. You were going to do all the work and have to...
You're going to be 16 for 16, Mike. Get ready.
This is an easy job. The NHIAA comes out yesterday. Were you surprised when you saw the pairings on Friday morning so early and you knew you had a whole weekend to prepare?
It was interesting because I had gotten to my office at about 6:15 in the morning yesterday and immediately pulled up the final standings and started doing my work just to figure out where we were going and where everybody else fell. And about 2 hours later, I got an email from my AD saying you're playing MV and the bracket is up. I'm like, what? It was crazy. It was crazy.
All right, so now we know you're the 12 seed. You're playing at the 5 seed, Merrimack Valley. Did you guys play them during the regular season? I don't think so.
We did not.
Okay.
Nope.
So that poses some problems for both coaching staffs. You got to try and get as much film on those guys as possible and get as much scouting report as possible before you get to play them on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Your initial thoughts on that matchup? I know they've got a big front line. They've got a good guard in Malevi, the point guard.
Veteran team, yeah. Veteran coach.
Yeah.
And
they're
actually...
a veteran team. They've got a coach that's been around the block several times, and they're disciplined in what they do. And we have been able to pick up some film on them, and we're trying to learn as much as we can, as quickly as we can. It's tough at this stage in the year because you don't want to throw too much new stuff at the kids because they're not going to remember it anyway. So we try to refine what we do, based upon what they do, and we shall see how it goes.
So let's talk about your team. You guys finished 7-11 this year, coming off a season last year when you had a real senior-laden team and a good team that made it to the quarterfinal round and lost to Lebanon, which was a Final Four team. Well, obviously they won the game, so they got to the Final Four. But let's talk about the season for you guys, led by Fothergill, and you pretty much had a whole different cast of characters this year.
We did. We had a young team and a pretty inexperienced team as far as varsity basketball goes. Matt Fothergill was really the only one that got significant minutes last year in any meaningful game. So, trying to figure things out and learn how to play at this level is a challenge when you've got a young team. And we took our lumps along the way, but the thing that I was encouraged with and still am encouraged with this group is that every game has been a grind. It's been a war. We've been in every game except for 2 all year. So, that speaks volumes about these kids and their competitiveness, and they're willing to stick it out and fight through all this adversity that we really have had during the course of the year. Unfortunately, we didn't finish some of those games and thus the 7-11 record, but we were in them. We had opportunities.
So let's go through this. Let's go through this bracket. I'll let you, Mike. Just start it off at Portsmouth Conval, and we'll just go. Oh, I just spoiled your first matchup. I'm sorry about that, but I can tell you, I talked to Coach Mulvey yesterday a little bit. Or we texted back and forth. It's funny. I talked to Doc Wheeler about his team, and he'll just say, "We don't do this well. We don't do this well." Doc will go, "We don't do this. We're not disciplined." I'm like, You're 16-1. Like, right. When we're having this conversation. So Jim Mulvey is not happy with his Clippers right now, but. They open against Conval, but I'll let you let's just go down the bracket and we'll just kind of talk about each matchup.
Sure. I mean that's an intriguing matchup. You've got the established powerhouse in Portsmouth that's been there a million times and seems to be perennially in the Final Four at UNH, and then you've got the up and comer in Conval, and
they're a big
Coach
team,
Parker,
right?
What's that?
They're a big team, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good size. They're young. Coach Parker's done a great job with those kids.
Yeah.
That's certainly a program that's on the rise, and I just think they're going to get better and better. And having them get into the state tournament, no matter what happens on Monday night, is a great experience for them, and they're going to really learn a lot from this.
All right, Hanover-Milford is your 8-9 game. I'm really battling myself and Dave here, who's really the boss and tells me where to go and what games to cover for the most part, but this Hanover-Milford matchup is one that intrigues me, and I'm thinking about a ride up I-89 on Monday afternoon. But there's a couple other games that intrigue me as well, but what do you think about this 8-9 matchup between Hanover and Milford?
It's two teams that they play well together, both of them. Milford's done a great job all year, playing together and making shots and doing the things that they need to do to win games, and, Tim Winslow just does a great job every year at Hanover. You look at them; they have no superstars, but they play hard. They're always very sound defensively, and they figure it out enough on the offensive end most nights.
Yeah, Dan Murray was I was at Wilton yesterday. Dan Murray was over there. Boy, it's nice to see Milford back in it. He's a good coach, obviously. He's won 2 pair of championships. And just kind of building that team back up again. So, nice to see he's got some young guys there. Kirk Palladino has been terrific for them. So that's the first half of it. And then, so now we get the 4-5, right, where you're in, and then Lebanon, right?
Yeah, the Lebanon Oyster River. Yeah,
the Lebanon Oyster River game. It's always tough to go up and play Lebanon at Lebanon. Trust me, I know. Done it a few times, and they're just so good. Fundamentally sound, really good shooters. I think the one thing that I took away when we played Lebanon, our place, a few weeks ago, was that they just don't miss shots.
Yeah,
you just can't make a mistake. They make shots, and it makes it tough to play against, and that's going to be an interesting matchup because both teams are relatively small. Neither team has a ton of size, and the run kid for Oyster River is terrific. So if he goes off, he can certainly keep them in the game.
So the winner of that game, Lebanon Oyster River, takes on the winner of your game, Merrimack Valley Hollis.
They take on Hollis Brookline. They're pulling the upset, the 12th seed. That's right?
I'm not going to make any predictions today.
The other side of the bracket, this game is interesting. A 2-15 game is usually not interesting, but the style of play that St. Thomas plays, that run and gun, shoot a lot of threes, and West loves to run up and down the floor. They may be the best team right now in Division II, Manchester West, finished with 17-1 record, just like Portsmouth, losing to Portsmouth in the opening game of the season for them way back in December. But this is a different team. I mean, West could score 100 in this game if St. Thomas plays the way they always play, and why wouldn't they?
Well, I wouldn't assume that they're going to play any other style, although, you might want to try to slow West down a little bit. I think if you try to play at that speed with them, just their athleticism is just going to take over that game, I think. So, we'll see what Dave decides to do with his group. I think they're relatively talented, and I think they've had a lot of close games. They kind of like us, where they've come up a little bit short. They could easily have 10, 11 wins this year. So, you never know what could happen. You get into the tournament, and funny things happen. We're still dealing with 16 to 18-year-old kids.
All right, Cole Brown, Goffstown.
This feels like the 8-9 game, doesn't it? This is just like two very. Are you surprised Goffstown was a 10 seed?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
It's.
And I'm surprised Cole Brown was a 7 seed.
Yeah, Cole Brown's been real solid.
Yeah, I mean, I have not had an opportunity to see Cole Brown play this year at all. Not even on film, so it's tough for me to really talk.
Mike, you're
about
hurting our feelings. We covered them against Oyster River.
I'm
Come
sorry,
find us.
Listen, if I'm not preparing for a team, I'm not going to focus on them too much.
You're such a pro. But
it is what it is.
No.
But Goffstown is a really good team. They've got a couple of big kids that can really finish inside, and obviously if they're shooting the basketball well, they can absolutely beat anybody in this league. Anybody. And so that's. But it's again going to Cole Brown is a tough place to go and play. I was thinking about the Thursday night matchup with Cole Brown and Sauhegan, and Sauhegan has been playing so well as of late. And I thought that could be a good game for them to pick up. But just going to Cole Brown it's a tough place to play. They got the band going, and
they bring them out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. So, but that's going to be a good matchup against again 2 good solid teams, well coached.
And that brings up the matchup. You mentioned Sauhegan. They're the 14 seed. They're playing in Concord at Bishop Brady. I just see Brady, I'm surprised a little bit that they, struggled down. They lose the game to Merrimack Valley, but they ended up being 14-4. I just think Brady is a very, very good basketball team, and they're going to give Sauhegan problems.
Yeah, but I think Sauhegan can give them some problems as well. I think Sauhegan's size and athleticism can certainly cause some problems for Brady. But I think in the end, you get Brady's a very, very talented team. They've got 3 potential first-team All-Staters.
Mm.
I mean, that's how do you combat that? It's just tough, and they can certainly score the basketball. So I think in talking with Cole, I think obviously when you get to this point in the season, it's going to be dependent upon how well they guard. How well they play defense. They're going to score. There's no question about that. But are they going to guard at the level that we saw them play against Portsmouth, which was just one of the best high school basketball games I've seen in a long, long time.
It was a great game. All right, final game in the bracket, and then we got to let you go because we got to try and break down D1 with Jay McKenna after the break. But you got Wyndham, number 6. They really came on down the stretch. They're a team that gave Pelham one of their toughest tests of the season, Division III undefeated Pythons, who Dave's going to see tonight taking on his Guilford Golden Eagles.
I'm going to see them lose tonight.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. He's got some confidence. You got Wyndham, number 6. They finished the season at 13-5. They're going to play host to Kennett. Rematch of a football playoff game that took place in North Conway, and Wyndham blitzed them there, and we'll see what happens here in the basketball game on Monday night.
Well, I think that's another it's Division II. I mean, every matchup is intriguing. It really is, and that one certainly is because you've got some really good guard play in that game, and it may end up being who's big step up and play better because I think the guard play has the potential of kind of offsetting each other, and it may come down to whose bigs really start to assert themselves in the paint.
Everybody's been talking Portsmouth, West, Brady, Lebanon, the big 4, solid locks to be in the Final Four. Is there a team outside those 4 teams that you think has a chance to get in there?
I think, again, it's Division II. How many times have we had the 10 seed go on and win the state title?
So, right.
Anything can happen in this league, and if there's a true sleeper out there, I don't know that there is one. I'd watch out for Wyndham, no doubt. I think they just play really well together. They play hard.
Yeah, I think
they
that's the
defend
team.
well. The Carbonell kid is terrific. He's a great leader and a good scorer, and I think certainly they're one to watch. But I don't think you can sleep on any of those top 8, 9, 10 teams because it's Division II. This is what happens in our league.
All right, Coach. Great job. We appreciate you coming on, and best of luck against MV in Pennacook on Monday night.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Mike Soucy from Hollis Brookline breaking down the bracket in Division II. You enjoyed that? Let's see what it looks like in D1. Jay McKenna from Winnicott will join us next with his prognostication of that D1 bracket on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Welcome back to the best local coverage of New Hampshire high school basketball. The New Hampshire High School Hoop Show on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Well, our next guest is hoping that his team isn't only 17, and 17, it doesn't get you into the tournament. Jay McKenna from Winnicott joins us on the program. He's here to break down Division I. Regular season finished up last night. Londonderry finishes unbeaten. Central wins on a buzzer beater against Alvern to improve to 17-1. Coach McKenna, your last game didn't go as well as you would like, as you guys lose your last game. Good morning. Thanks for coming on, first of all. But are you in a good mood or a bad mood this morning?
Talking to you guys, I'm in a good mood.
All right.
Last night was a tough one. We just Keene played really well. We weren't quite ready for their intensity. It was our senior night, so I think our guys were kind of caught up in that moment. And I'll tell you what, Keene played a very good basketball game. They're a talented group. Coach Sontag does a very good job with them. They're very physical. They're very patient. They execute extremely well. As you look across the landscape of Division I, there's a lot of teams that can win. I think Londonderry, obviously, at 18-0, and Central is very good. But, I think Spalding's very good. Pinkerton's very talented. But there's a lot of teams, all the way down that can win. So it's going to be a very interesting tournament.
So pretty easy to figure out the top four. I mean, Londonderry, the only unbeaten team, they're the one. Central, the two. Pinkerton and Spalding ended up finishing tied at 15-3, but Pinkerton won the head-to-head, so they're the 3 and Spalding's the 4. And why don't you take it from there? How do you see the rest of it break down? I mean, it laid out pretty nicely for you. You didn't have a lot of tiebreakers to have to worry about until like the middle of the tournament bracket.
Yeah, it did. And my good friend and longtime assistant coach, Don Lamprey, he's a genius when it comes to these tournaments. So we had him look at it last night, and as he said, this could be the easiest one we've ever had to take a look at. We had Bedford at 5, Pembroke at 6, South at 7. Alvern and Merrimack ended in a 9-9 tie, but Alvern beat them in the head-to-head. That puts Alvern at 8, Merrimack at 9. Trinity and Memorial both finished at 8 and 10, but Trinity beat Memorial in that head-to-head, so that pushed Trinity to 10, and Memorial had the 11. Then BG and Keene both finished at 7 and 11, but BG beat them in the head-to-head, so that gets BG to 12. Keene falls to the 13. Then Salem, North, and ourselves all finished 6 and 12. However, I believe Salem beat both North and us, so that would push them out of the tiebreaker into the 14. And then you look at North and us, and North beat us head-to-head, so North would get to 15, and we fell into the 16.
So your consolation prize for doing this is you got Londonderry trip to Lancerland on what is it, Monday or Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, that is the consolation. But we played it pretty tough in the regular season. We got down in the first half, but we came back, and we had them, I think it was around, we had cut the lead to 2 with less than two minutes to go. So I know our kids are excited about it, a chance to go play, an undefeated team. So, we'll get back to practice and take a look at what happened last night and try to fix some of those things and get better.
Jay, I got a scouting report for you. I don't know if you got a pen right there. Londonderry has a kid, Cody Ball, Ball.
2 L's?
Good player, yes. You want to cover him.
I've heard that.
Yes. You want to cover him? That's my scout. That's all I got for you. But,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem.
So I'm going to try and figure out the matchups here. So Londonderry, Winnicott, that one's established.
Yeah.
Central North, that would be the 2:15 game.
Correct.
Pinkerton, Salem, that would be the 3:14 game.
Yep.
The 3:14. Okay, I got that right. Spalding 4 against 14 Salem, correct? No. It's Keene. Sorry. All right, and then you take it. You got the stuff in front of you. You go. You give us the matchups the rest of the way.
Then we've got Bedford BG in the 5-12 game. The 6-11 would be Pembroke and Trinity. The 7 and 10 would be. Do I have that right? No.
I think it's Memorial Pembroke.
Excuse me, Memorial Pembroke. And then in the 7-10 game, that would be South and Trinity.
Yeah, that's a toss-up game. Yeah, big
time. And then the 8 and 9 would be Alvin and Merrimack.
And those are two teams kind of going in different directions. Although Merrimack stumbled last night, but Alvin is Pete said it last week. They're usually a team that kind of comes on late. They've actually stumbled late, but then. I don't know. Let me ask you as a coach, can you lose 4 or 5 games in a row but then play a team like Central as well as they did and take momentum out of a loss? Like, can you do that?
I think so. I mean, we're talking high school sports. We're talking high school boys here, and depending on how a coach and how a group can find a silver lining in a performance, that could be just exactly what they need. I mean, they showed up front. Alvin did that. They could beat teams and they could play very good basketball, and they have stumbled down the stretch. But, who knows what was said in that locker room? Who knows what the kids took out of it last night? So a game like that sometimes can be more valuable in terms of confidence than, beating someone on the bottom end of the standings.
Just looking at some of these other matchups, Bedford BG, Pembroke Memorial. Do you hear anything, Coach, about Jack Quirk? He got suspended, I guess, prior to last night's game for at least 1, maybe 2 games. You hear anything about that and whether or not he's going to be able to coach in the playoffs next week?
I was going to ask you. It's the same thing. I did see that last night that he had been suspended, but it was news to me when I read that. So I have no idea what the situation is over there. I know if those kids if everyone's playing and everyone's on the same page, an argument could be made that they're the most talented team in the state. So I don't know, and I'm just as interested as you guys are to find out what the situation is.
What about BG? I mean, look at them. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be a lot better.
That's
than they
the
ended up
interesting
being.
matchup to me. BG Bedford. That feels like a good. That feels like to me like if you're BG, you're like, okay, I kind of like where we're at with that. No? What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we played both those teams. We were able to beat both those teams in the regular season. I think they're both talented. They're obviously both well coached. They play very different styles. I think Bedford has a size advantage.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be who can get the other team to play their style. Bedford's going to look to slow it down a little bit more, turn it into the half court. BG, as always, is just going to press, and try to turn it into a track meet. So whoever can get the other team to play at their speed and pace, I think will be the team that comes out on the win. But again, both teams are good. They both have talented players. They're well coached, and they know what they want to do. So it is a very interesting matchup at the 5-12.
All right, Jay. Well, we know you got a lot of work ahead of you trying to prepare for an unbeaten team in the playoffs on Wednesday. So we appreciate you coming on and breaking it all down. But let's face it, you had an easy road. This was not Division III with a 6-way tie break.
He still nailed it.
But you did a good job,
Jay. Don't forget Cody Ball. That's the kid.
That's the
Cody
name
Ball.
Yeah, you should write that down.
I'm happy, thrilled that we made the tournament because we had the conversation last night after the game. We went out to dinner as a coaching staff, and I said, can you imagine going on the radio today having not made it? It would have been like reading my own eulogy at my own funeral. So.
That's what Sam Natty last week, he came on, and his team was tied for the 17th spot in Division 4. So, but they won 2 games. So it's like you win 2 games, you really can't expect to be in the tournament.
Yeah,
so, Jay McKenna from Winnicott, thank you so much, and good luck against Londonderry. And I'm sure we'll see you out at UNH when this thing all comes to a head, the semifinals and the finals in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys, and thanks overall for another great season, for all the hard work that you guys put in promoting the sport. And It means a lot to us, I think, as a coaching community, and for the kids to really enjoy it too. So thank you for all the things you guys do.
All right, Jay. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend.
You too. Take care.
Thank you. Jay McKenna from Winnicott. We'll take a break, come back. We'll look ahead to our coverage tonight.
We're just talking Guilford.
Guilford,
That's it. I don't want to talk about anybody else.
Can they, speaking about Winnicott.
How have I not talked about them yet?
Speaking about Winnicott with a chance to pull off an upset against an unbeaten team.
Oh, boy.
Guilford has a chance tonight.
Oh, boy.
At Pelham, and Dave Haley will be there.
I will be there.
More of the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show coming up next on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
These guys know their high school basketball. It's the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show with Pete Terrier and Dave Haley on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
John Kesty just perked up when Bob Seeger came on. Like, I've never seen John Kesty perk up in the studio.
Hey, this is going out to your Guilford Golden Eagles because they're against the wind tonight, I'll tell you.
They really
going
are.
down to Pelham. Just a quick editor's note here. If I ever go to McGarvey's with you, like you did last night with Buddy Trask and the rest of the people, I'm ripping Bob Seeger Against the Wind on karaoke.
Yeah.
And I will nail it.
That's your tune? I go aggressive. I go, We Are the World, and I do 70 different parts. That's what I do. I had a buddy and I do it, and in the middle of it, it was hilarious. People were laughing in the middle of it. I go, wow, this is a really long song. Like, it was like 8 minutes.
You get that Michael Jackson high note. You're going to need the world against Pelham tonight. The Guilford Golden Eagles, the number 8 seed going down to take on undefeated Pelham. At the end of your video after the Hopkinton game, Dave Haley's like, Matt Regan, we're coming for you.
Thank God.
Do you guys have a chance?
Thank God he knew I was joking. I talked to Matt yesterday. Obviously, Matt's a good buddy of mine. I don't know if we got a chance. I mean, Pelham's so good. I don't know. You know, anyone's got a chance, but Pelham's so good. And here's the thing. Guilford, I think, defensively, Pelham's going to spread them out. They're going to take Cloutier and Rondo, and they're going to spread them out. Can Guilford score? I'm not worried about Guilford's defense. I'm worried about Guilford's offense, and we got to take care of the basketball. But I'm excited. Obviously, I had a lot of fun up there on Thursday night doing that game, so tonight's going to be fun no matter what. I love those Pelham kids, so it's going to be fun no matter what tonight.
And I'm looking forward to making the trek.
They're excited for you.
John Kesty and myself, Newport, Campbell, Division III quarterfinals.
They are
tonight.
excited you're coming, Newport. Yeah, they're fired up that you're coming. You're royalty. When I show up, they're like, it's like the B team walking in. But they're excited you're coming.
I'm looking forward to it. Andrew Hood, Spencer Coronis, Zach Bergen. You know, to me, the key in this game tonight, Ogre. Harrison Vedrani.
Yeah, Vedrani's really good.
I call him Ogre because he just reminds me of Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
I think the
Such
key,
a big monster dude.
I think the key is Spencer Coronis, Jesse Stifler, you know, the ability for them to knock down shots against that zone. I think that'll be big.
All right, how about this one? I wish I could get to this one. And, John, I may try and angle you on this one for after that Newport Campbell game.
8:30 start, you're talking about?
8:30 tip time at the Pratt. Conant, Messinic. Can we pull off the double dip? At least get there after the game starts, maybe by halftime.
These are rivals that I'm not sure it's a friendly rivalry at this point. I think these two teams are, you know, Messinic wanted Conant, and Conant is sitting there going, you wanted us, you got us. So this is going to be fun. That's a fun Messinic team. Jared Stoffnecker, great to see him. Love seeing him interviewed and so forth. That's going to be a really, really good one. A lot of people think Messinac's going to win that one.
How about this game, the forgotten game in Division III?
Stevens against Farmington?
No.
It almost
was that.
So real quick, we're up against it, but real quick, my preview will be
seconds.
out. My preview will be out today for D3 in about an hour. I haven't been home yet, but yes, Berlin against Winscombe.
Yeah, that should be a fun one too. We'll see who comes out of there. And then Wednesday, semifinals. SNU. I will be there for both of those games. Missing the D1 prelims to cover 2 games in the semifinals at SNU.
And
I'm not upset about it. It's going to be great.
And Sam Natty and I will be at Plymouth on Monday night, D4 semis.
All right, enjoy the playoffs this weekend. Enjoy all the coverage. NHSportsPage.com. For Jay McKenna, Mike Susi, John Kesty, Jeremy Mahaney, Dave Haley. My name's Pete Terrier. March Madness in full effect. Enjoy it, everybody.